So not really sure if I wanted to do this video. Started out with a question I was asked a little while ago. A friend of mine came over, watched me do a little bit of metal casting. I cast him one of my walking stick heads. And his son came with me and asked me a question because he kind of liked it and thought it would be really kind of fun to be a pattern maker. And since I haven't been technically in the trade for probably about 15 years now, I decided I would look into it for him and see what's available. I live eastern Washington, and we only got one foundry close to where I live, and they don't have too much of a pattern shop that I know of anyway. Knew one guy that worked there, but anyway, so I started to do some research for him, and for me it was kind of shocking. So I'm going to go back, before I talk about that, to my first apprenticeship, or my only apprenticeship, and talk about what it takes to get started at the time I started my apprenticeship. That was in 1973. It was a 5-year apprenticeship. And after you get through a 6-month probation period, there will be a contract signed between me, the state, the company, and the union to train me for the 5 years that I would have after my probation period, or including my probation period. So, as it worked out, that worked for me. We had, the first job, let's do that first. First job I had was I was working on an impeller housing, pump housing. And it was about a 4-foot diameter pump housing. Had cope and drag patterns, not mounted, loose patterns. They were good sized coreboxes, obviously. And it had been kept in storage for about 20 years. So I had a rather hefty duty buildup of, let's just say, birds were very happy living in that storage area. So I spent the first 2 weeks of my apprenticeship cleaning all the bird droppings off that core box and pattern, get it ready for the foundry again. I don't know of too many people today, kids at the age I was 23 when I started, which was almost too old. But to spend that much time without basically any safety equipment, we didn't have really any dust masks that we wore when we cleaned that stuff up. So I'm actually surprised I'm still alive at 75. So be that as it may, I'm still here. So I was going to talk a little bit about it. But they had to train me. At the end of my 4th year, the boss came out and asked me if I wanted to become a journeyman. And I thought about it for a little bit, and I basically told him no. I said, I don't want to be a journeyman yet. I said, as soon as I become a journeyman, I'm equal to all the other journeymen in the shop, and they don't have to tell me how to do anything because I'm supposed to be their equal. So I said, I'll finish my 5 years, which I did. At the end of the 5-year period, I talked to a few of the journeymen, so this would have been 78. Talked to a few of the journeymen and asked them what I should do when I finished my apprenticeship. Their question was, what kind of pattern maker do you want to be? So I says, I want to know as much as I possibly can about it. And he says, okay, if that's what you want, finish your apprenticeship, quit, go to a different shop, and learn everything you can from every shop you ever worked in. And that's what I did. Luckily for me, the boss I had at the first shop, his dad and his grandfather were both pattern makers. And he understood, and he told me I always had a job when I came back, which he did. I went to that shop several times. I was actually given a key to the shop so I could open it up. I told him I did not want to be a foreman in there when I was, you know, quite a ways past my apprenticeship, but I liked working the bench. I liked building patterns. We built everything from, I got a putter head that I still got a casting for out in my shop, and the biggest pattern I ever made was a rudder horn and the rudder hub for a 600-foot tanker. We did a lot of shipyard work in there, which was a lot of fun. So that was kind of my apprenticeship. I finished in '78, worked pretty much every shop in Seattle-Tacoma area. So to get back to why I'm making this video, when he asked me what was available out there to become a journeyman pattern maker, I says, anymore, I don't really know, so I'll take a look around. So I still have pattern maker friends that are working there. Locally, they're making about 30 to 35 bucks an hour. When I started my apprenticeship at journeyman pattern maker, was making $12.43 an hour, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in '73 that was quite a bit of money. If we'd kept pace with inflation, that would be equivalent to about 80 plus bucks an hour now. So we aren't making anywhere close to that anymore. So when I did my little bit of search, there is one company I found. I won't give you their name because I think trying to be a pattern maker now is pretty much a waste of time. But you get 636 hours of time. This is all the academics. It would be like probably geometry, some trig, exposure to, when I talked to the guy, it was exposure to CNC and CAD work. It was, let's see, 75 exams total. It was, where did I put it down? Let's see, I gotta find it again. Yeah, okay. I also get a little bit of a class in foundry practice. But it's the cost was $10,000 for a 4-year program, and that's $10,000 total. It's just an academic program. You need a sponsor, a company to work for while you're going to school that is involved in the pattern industry. And the worst part about it is, I went to the, there it is, Bureau of Labor Statistics. When I started my apprenticeship, we had roughly 15,000 pattern makers between the U.S. and Canada. So that would have been in '73. About the time I was getting out of the trade and going into CAD and CAD design and CMM programming, that number had dropped to about 5,000 in the same area. Now you got to remember, the union went away in our area in about '86, I think it was, '85, '86. But checking with the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in the U.S., there's roughly 260 pattern makers. Job average wage is $52,000 plus a year. You can get as high as $75,000 a year, and your average wage is about 25.16 an hour. So it's not really a skill that's in demand. It's kind of a waste of time to even look at it. Many years ago, when I first started playing around at home with my own foundry stuff, I wrote an article for a guy he had in a little online magazine in Australia. I forget his name. But it was basically an article about, I called it the dying trade. Because that's what pattern making is. It's dying off in this country bad. I've heard them talk about they want to bring industry back, but there's a lot of things in industry that involve pattern making, and it's going to be really hard to get it back unless you're having the patterns built overseas. The nice part about being a pattern maker at the time I did it is 2 classes of people did not have to go to fight in any kind of war if we had one. Pattern makers and boiler makers, unless they physically quit their job and enlisted, would not be drafted. They're automatically given a 4F rating. So we were there basically to build a war machine, and that's the way it went. But really, it's not worth the effort to try and become a pattern maker anymore. You aren't going to get the same kind of training I got when I served my apprenticeship. Like I said, we built everything. All the shops I worked in, except for one, was a job shop. I worked in one corporation type shop, and that was for pack car. And that's gone now too. The foundries I used to work for, almost all of them are gone out of the Seattle area. So this is just, I guess, kind of sort of a little rant about where this industry has gone, and everything was sent overseas, being built overseas, and it just kind of faded away overall. We still got a few around here, and that's about it. So just a little rant. I still like it. I like doing my stuff at home. It's a extremely interesting trade when you get to work with what I got to work with. Nowadays, there's nothing out there even worthwhile making anymore, unless most of the pattern makers I looked at are back east in, I think it was Michigan and Pennsylvania, with the majority being in Pennsylvania. Michigan has 30, Pennsylvania has roughly 100, and the rest would be spread around the U.S. Where, don't know exactly. Like I said, I know a few here in the state, but it's just kind of sad. We're always told that we'll be worth our weight in gold when I serve in my apprenticeship. I won't in my lifetime, but if things get nasty or bad or whatever's going to happen in the world in the future, there is nobody left out there to really train anybody to be a pattern maker. Not here anyway. The rest of the country, Michigan and Pennsylvania, I couldn't tell you, but that's I guess my little rant. It's just amazing to me that this trade has gone away and gone the way it has. So you guys have a good one, and we'll talk at you later, and I'll see what else I can come up with. I know I haven't done a video in a little while, but I've been busy. I'm in the process of making my office presentable and working in here. I used it for storage for a lot of years, so now I'm kind of redoing the inside, make it my office, and put all my storage stuff elsewhere. So that's it. You guys have a good one, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.